Hello and happy holidays. Thank you so much to everyone who has been watching my channel. I started around the summer and I've gotten a lot of support, so I want to make a fun video for the holiday season, making something that's been very heavily requested in the community, and I wanted to point out this is not official content. This is just me making some silly goofy stuff for the winter holidays and hoping people kind of have a good time with it. I've seen a lot of people ask for a Penguinborn Ancestry, so I made a little something myself so people can play around with it. It should work fine to play with, but it is obviously a little bit more silly than it is a serious project. So let's talk a little bit about the Penguinborn Ancestry, first going over the default traits. So for the default traits, I decided to stick with only things that are available already inside of the DC20 core rules. So you could build a Penguinborn if you wanted to right now by just using custom ancestry. More or less, the only exception to this is my zero cost trait. The zero cost trait I made here, Arctic Emperor, is not included in the core rules. It's entirely novel, and Arctic Emperor is kind of fun. You're really good at moving through snow and ice, and so what I decided to do is make you immune to difficult terrain created by snow or ice. So basically, if you're walking in a tundra, right, everyone's moving through thick snow, you are unaffected by that difficult terrain because you're Penguinborn. Other than that, we have keen senses. I would recommend choosing something like Sight, probably. Makes sense for a bird build. Swim speed, which lets you also hold your breath longer, which represents you kind of being a penguin, being able to swim. Cold resistance, which obviously cold resistance for penguin, and gives advantage on saves against exhaustion from cold temperatures, so it kind of builds into this sort of cold temperature survivalist build, as well as natural weapon. I just chose to put natural weapon in here. I think it makes sense for a Penguinborn to be able to use their beaks or claws to decide to make attacks. Remember that these are just the default traits, so I just chose 5 points worth of traits that players can just run with if they want to run something that feels like a Penguinborn. But obviously, this is not where it ends, because I've added some expanded traits as well. So looking over the expanded traits, I have a couple joke ones, a couple real ones. I have some from the real book. So the first two are kind of joke ones. I have Happy Feet, which is advantage on checks made to perform a dance, right? So if you want to make a Penguinborn bard, you can take the Happy Feet. I was thinking about adding something here about making a dance that creates sound, but you know what? I decided to be a little bit more lenient. You got Happy Feet. If you dance, you can dance better. Then I got Smile and Wave, which gives you advantage on trickery checks made to conceal items. So you can kind of be sneaky and pass off, I definitely am taking some inspiration here from Penguins of Madagascar. I got the Smile and Wave boys line. Just decided to work off of that. So these two are kind of some references. And now I'm building into some a little bit more mechanically beneficial ones. Smile and Wave still does have some mechanical benefit. And we have Pack Tactics. I actually have taken this Pack Tactics from the West Marches. So the Kobold in the West Marches currently has a Pack Tactics feature. I decided, hey, you know what? Penguins tend to travel in packs. There's like this whole idea of a large group of penguins. Let's give penguins Pack Tactics. And I decided to go with the West Marches Pack Tactics. So if any West Marches player is looking at this, you'll know this Pack Tactics. You get to do 1 extra damage on melee attacks if you have a conscious ally adjacent to your target. So basically, if you're flanking a target, sort of, it's a little bit actually more lenient than flanking, then you can deal 1 extra damage. Then I have probably what I feel like is the inside joke feature, which is too iconic. When you roll a 1 on a wild magic table, you can re-roll that result. And I did not add a limit to this. If you keep rolling 1s on a wild magic table, you keep re-rolling. Nothing is going to turn you into a sheep. And if you roll a 20 on the wild magic table, you can choose to take those stats of a purple dragon, but just remain as a Penguinborn and kind of keep your Penguinborn appearance and just get the power of a purple dragon. Because, purple dragons are kind of the iconic monster representing DC20. There's definitely a big connection there. It's like the dragon on the DC20 logo. But this is the Penguinborn. It's just too iconic to be turned into anything else. So the wild magic, which is also iconic of Alan, the dungeon coach, can't turn the Penguinborn into anything else. The Penguinborn will stay as is. Next is, I think, probably the most fun and innovative feature that I've added to Penguinborn, which is Slip and Slide. Slip and slide is fun. It kind of gets this idea of a penguin sliding around. And if you move 2 or more spaces in a straight line, you can choose to slide in the same direction. And when you slide, you fall prone and you move an amount of spaces up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So you kind of move a little bit in a straight line, and then you just kind of keep sliding in that direction, kind of sliding past any opportunity attacks. And any action you take during the slide causes it to end. So if you kind of try to do some action or reaction in the middle of the slide, that interrupts the slide, and you don't stand up yet, you're still prone. This is kind of the risk of slipping and sliding. You move through, without opportunity attacks, but you are still prone, right? So if you end your slide in a risky position, you are going to have to stand up and eat those opportunity attacks from standing up from prone. Then we have insulated movement. Insulated movement is going to be a nice one to make you immune to slowed by effects that deal cold damage or spells with the ice tag. So there's a lot of association between cold and slowing in DC20, and this kind of prevents you from being slowed in those ways. So if something like a frostbolt is going to try to slow you with their save effect, you are resistant to that effect, right? You can't be slowed. Fully immune. This is probably a little bit cracked since most slowed effects come from cold damage. It could probably say advantage. So this is just like a balanced note. This is probably overtuned, but if you playtest it and you decide it's too strong, it's fair to either make this 2 points, or probably the better option is just to make this advantage on the saves against being slowed. Because spells don't currently have tags, right? So this is just, I'm just assuming, kind of making a shot, I guess in the dark, that there's going to be there's going to be an ice tag. It might be a cold tag, but there probably will be a tag for different damage types. And so I'm applying that tag to this. That's how I'm referencing the spells that might not deal cold damage, but they still have that cold feel to them. But really, if you just see any spell that has kind of an ice, snow, or cold weather flavor to it, then that's the intent here. That's what's supposed to be stopped by insulated movement. And then I got some kind of iconic ones. I got glide speed. Now you might be thinking to yourself, but penguins don't fly. That's just because you've been fooled. They just haven't been trying hard enough. The penguins, they're not really flying, they're gliding, and you just have to believe in the penguins. They can glide. Just toss a penguin and you'll see they will start gliding. But really the reason I added glide speed here is because I wanted winged arms to be an option, and winged arms is really only available by default if you have glide speed, and so I decided if you wanted to take glide speed and winged arms, you could take that combination. You could even probably mix and match here, right? You could obviously be a penguin-born mixed with other beast-born traits for full flight, so you can have your flying penguin if you want. But I thought winged arms was a little bit iconic for a penguin build. It makes so much sense, but you kind of need something that gives you a glide or fly speed for it to even make sense. So I decided to add glide speed mainly for that reason. And the last one is to add short-legged, because penguins, they waddle around, they have their cute waddle, but they obviously don't move very quickly. Now short-legged does kind of anti-synergize with things like the slip and slide. Slip and slide is a little bit worse if you got that short-legged debuff, but it does mean that things like your ability to prevent being slowed or the immunity to difficult terrain from Arctic Emperor are both going to kick in and kind of help you keep your speed, even if it's already a kind of reduced speed. And that's pretty much it. Just wanted to kind of show off this Penguinborn Ancestry. The link to this is kind of published as a wiki. It's going to be in the description. So if you want to play with some Penguinborns, here's your Penguinborn to play with. Have fun with it. Give me any feedback if you enjoy playing the Penguinborn, if you have some thoughts on the Penguinborn, maybe some other traits. People can feel free to make up some homebrew traits in the comments, and I might even add them to this Penguinborn Ancestry document. It can definitely grow. I can keep changing this even now that it's published. So thank you so much for all the support throughout this year, and as always, thanks for watching, and until the next time, have the best time.